In the landscape of modern geopolitics, where territorial conflicts persist and economic paradigms shift, the role of the United States has never been more scrutinized. As nations vie for global influence amidst escalating tensions, such as those in Israel, Iran, and Russia, Ukraine, the U.S. finds itself in a precarious balancing act. Its domestic political decisions cascade across borders, affecting everything from international trade to currency stability. This power to influence, whether wielded wittingly or not, places America at the crux of global economic fluctuations, rendering its political landscape a subject of paramount significance in international economic discourse. The ascendancy of the United States as a global power was marked by its strategic victories in World War II and solidified during the Cold War. Its dual role as a military heavyweight and an economic powerhouse allowed it to project power on a scale previously unparalleled. This strategic position was bolstered by a robust industrial base and the establishment of international institutions like the United Nations and the World Trade Organization, which often reflected the American ethos of market-driven economics and liberal democracy. Coupled with the US dollar becoming the world's primary reserve currency post-Bretton Woods, America's economic recommendations or restrictions became an instrumental force in shaping global policies and practices. Sanctions have emerged as one of America's preferred non-military tools for enforcing international norms and influencing foreign governments. These measures often target critical sectors such as finance, trade, and technology, debilitating the target nation's economy and pressurizing them into compliance with international regulations or U.S. foreign policies. Initially intended as a peaceful alternative to direct military engagement, sanctions have in practice led to both intended and unintended consequences. The effectiveness and morality of sanctions remain subjects of heated international debate. Yet their widespread use underscores America's substantial leverage in global economic affairs. The U.S. Treasury, through measures such as the freezing of assets and trade embargoes, has overseen shifts in global markets and international relations, reflecting the complex interdependence of the global economic system. The geopolitical conflict between Russia and Ukraine provides a stark illustration of how U.S. domestic policy can influence international economics. Following Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, the U.S. led the charge in imposing economic sanctions intended to deter further aggressive actions. These sanctions affected not only the Russian economy, but also reverberated through global markets, impacting international trade routes, energy supplies, and foreign investment strategies. The situation uncovered the intricate domino effect triggered by U.S. policies, calling attention to the broader economic repercussions on global stakeholders. The intricate political dynamics of the Israel-Iran conflict are another area where American domestic policy intersects significantly with international economics. The U.S. stance towards Iran, often influenced by domestic political pressures and its commitment to Israel's security, has seen varying degrees of confrontation and conciliation depending on the prevailing U.S. administration. Bilateral and multilateral sanctions imposed on Iran have not only stifled its economy, but also reshaped alliances and economic strategies across the Middle East and beyond. These actions underscore the far-reaching impact of American domestic policies on global economic architectures and regional stability. American involvement in multilateral institutions, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, serves as vital links between U.S. internal policies and international economic trends. Through these platforms, the U.S. exercises significant influence over global economic policies, often channeling its national interests through economic aid, loans, and directives aimed at fostering economic stability and development. By leveraging its dominant position in these institutions, the U.S. has been able to play a critical role in shaping the economic landscapes of emerging markets and developing countries, reflecting its strategic interests and diplomatic objectives worldwide. Trade patterns and the formation of economic blocs also reflect the extensive reach of America's economic influence. U.S. trade policies, such as tariffs and trade agreements, directly affect global supply chains and dictate the terms of economic engagement for many countries. By strategically crafting its trade policies and economic partnerships, the U.S. not only secures markets for its products, but also enhances its geopolitical influence through economic dependencies and alliances. In the tangle of globalization, nations are drawn into the U.S. economic orbit, showcasing the potent mix of economics and politics in the crafting of global economic policies. The export of American technology, whether dual-use tech like semiconductors or purely civilian endowments like software, plays a pivotal role in maintaining U.S. strategic interests globally. These exports are often subject to stringent regulations, which serve both economic and security purposes. The dual role of these technologies as economic boosters and geopolitical tools highlights the nuanced and often contentious intersection of market interests and national security concerns. The U.S. utilizes these exports to fortify its allies and limit its adversaries, strategically managing both market and military landscapes across the globe. The global financial markets are exceedingly sensitive to U.S. economic indicators and political news. Policies emanating from Washington, whether fiscal, monetary, or regulatory, can cause significant fluctuations in global markets, affecting everything from stock prices to commodity costs. Investor behavior, in turn, adjusts to these oscillations, often leading to a cascade of effects in markets both close to and remote from U.S. shores. These market reactions extend far beyond mere economic metrics, influencing political stability and economic policies in numerous countries. As emerging economies gain traction and assert their presence on the global stage, the U.S. finds itself recalibrating its strategies to maintain influence. The rise of powers such as China and India, coupled with regional groupings like the ASEAN, presents new challenges to U.S. hegemony. Strategizing in this shifting global landscape involves not only economic foresight, but also diplomatic agility, as America aims to uphold its position without sparking confrontations that could lead to economic or military escalations. U.S. economic policies often have secondary effects on global demographics, particularly through immigration patterns and shifts in labor markets. For instance, trade agreements and economic conditions influence migration trends as people move in search of better economic opportunities. These shifts can lead to significant changes in both the U.S. and foreign labor markets, affecting local economies, social structures, and even political landscapes, again highlighting the global ripple effects of U.S. economic decisions. The interplay between human rights and economic sanctions presents a complex layer of analysis. While sanctions are intended to prompt political or behavioral change, they can also lead to significant humanitarian issues, exemplifying the moral dilemmas inherent in these policies. Decisions made in U.S. corridors of power reverberate through global communities, raising questions about the balance between achieving strategic objectives and the ethical implications of economic measures. Navigating the dual demands of domestic policy and global strategy continues to challenge U.S. administrations. Each decision made within the confines of the White House can potentially echo across the globe, impacting international markets, influencing foreign policies, and reshaping societal norms. As the United States positions itself amid evolving global conflicts, the intricate dance between its internal political ambitions and its international economic strategies remains a subject of critical importance. The balance it seeks to strike will not only define its future role on the world stage, but also shape the economic and political landscapes of nations worldwide.